Hello you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Samantha and I am the Gem Priestess. I am an energy healer who works to help you, kind of navigate what's going on in this world and navigate how, or figure out how your body can navigate and is currently navigating in this world. A lot of times we experience so many different crazy things. We don't really know how to process them, and so our minds kind of think, oh, well, let's just store that in the body and we'll deal with that another time. And then thus can create some pretty crazy things that do happen in your body and ultimately your life and how you exist in the world. That is kind of a lot, it is kind of weird and out there, definitely not what you hear all the time. So if you have any questions or you're wondering a little more about kind of what that stuff means, down in the description box will be a link to my website. You guys can click that, check that out. I talk about it so much more about it over there. And then if you have any other questions and stuff like that too, also down in the description box will be a link to my Instagram and my Twitter. You guys can always shoot me a DM. I have tons more stuff over on those other social medias too, so you guys can always click that and check that out. But for today, it's definitely something that has been coming up a lot in my own life, and I definitely think that should be talked about because it's something that we all really go through, and it's kind of the going through the death of who you used to be and who you are now. I'll kind of get into how that kind of came up for me just kind of this time around, because I've done it so many different times. We are always changing and evolving and putting these new spins on ourselves and just how we navigate in the world. So we will definitely talk about that, and definitely comment down below and let me know, has this ever happened to you guys? Let me know how you went through that, kind of what the situation at hand was like. I definitely love to hear from others and figure out, okay, like what's going on with them, how did that work for them, and even just learn new tips and tricks that way. By talking to other people, you learn so much more. But that is definitely more than enough rambling, so let's just get into today's video. Alright, so kind of within these last couple of weeks, there have been some pretty big changes in my life and just kind of trying to redirect things, so to say. And so there was a period of time where I was out looking for, just kind of another, part-time job, and really just trying to, look into, just creating some more stability for myself, and kind of in ways that, I was used to and was really comfortable in creating that stability. And with that, if many of you know, I've talked about it in other videos. I've talked about it on my Instagram. A previous path in my life that I used was going down, and then had to pivot and go another way, and thus landed me here. But before this, a couple of times before this, I used to be a hairdresser. I am a licensed hairstylist. I've worked in many different salons, doing many different things. And so while I was out, kind of looking for new jobs, figuring out, okay, where do I want to go? How can I do this? I got an offer from, a salon. I went in and I interviewed, and they offered me a position on the spot. And I said, you know what, let me go home and let me think about it. Give me a couple of days and I will reach back out to you, because I had a couple other salons doing the same thing. And so I go home and I was thinking about it and talking about it with my friends, and that specific salon was definitely one that would have been good for who I was 4 or 5 years ago. I worked in another salon that was kind of similar to that, and it was very much, oh well, that's it would, if I was still that person who I was then, this would be a perfect position for that. This would be a perfect move to go there. And I really had to sit and think about, I'm not that person anymore. And even just, I can think back to who I was then. Let's see, back then I was 21. So yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. And I can think back and even, remember the things that I did and that I thought and that I believed. And I can remember all of that because those things were of me, and, those things were me. And even now, just the things that I put up with then, believed in then, all of that stuff, it's just so crazy to me because that's not who I am anymore. back then I was used to working 60-hour weeks. I was used to working 3 weeks straight without a day off, and only having one day off and then coming back to work and doing it all over again. And, being a full-time student and never seeing my family and never seeing my friends and, finding these ways to cope with just kind of all of this stress and anxiety in really not so great ways for me. And so being, now looking for this new job, if I were still that same person who put up with all of those things, that would be a perfect move for me. And I really thought, and was kind of sad for a moment, and that was like, wow, I really used to put up with those things. I really thought that those things were okay, and now absolutely not. I'm not working 3 weeks straight with only one day off. I'm not, working and open to close a 12-hour shift or, whatever other crazy things that I did then. I'm not coping in those ways. I don't have those unhealthy coping mechanisms. I've learned and I've grown, and I'm now someone who, doesn't do that and doesn't work in places that kind of give off that certain lifestyle, And so, like I said, I was sad and I kind of mourned her a little bit, because I think just in the process of growing and transforming, we don't realize, there's no start and end date. There's no, Samantha 2.0 was born on, August 30th of 2017, and then she died of March 10th 2021 or whatever, whatever days. Like, there's no start and stop. We lose a little bit here, and then we gain a little bit, and we lose and we gain, and we lose and we gain, and we're constantly growing and evolving. And one day we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so not that person. I'm not the person who was there after that, or even after that again. And a lot of times we can want to get those people back. I definitely did find myself in that situation where I, even in the process of mourning, I was like, oh, I feel really bad, and I feel like I should want those things again. And those were things that I was starting to desire again. I was starting to desire, unhealthy relationships. I was starting to desire, staying at work later and doing things, like off the books and stuff like that, and just, because my body was still, because my body went through that for a very long time, for over a year. And so my body was like, oh, okay, well, let's just do, muscle memory. Let's do what we were doing. But then I had to sit there and rewind and be like, whoa, that's not who we are. That's not what we do. And I was creating a lot of messed up situations in, myself and my life, ultimately for the people around me now. I was creating some really uncomfortable situations for everybody involved, because I didn't properly sit down and mourn that person, mourn who I was. I recognized that she was gone, and I recognized that I needed to mourn her, and I did a little bit, but I didn't fully talk about, okay, well, she believed A, B, and C, and those things were wrong, and now I believe D, E, and F, and here's how we move from A to D and B to E and C to F, or whatever. Here's how we move from these points, and that's okay. We can move and we can learn and we can grow from these ways, and we also need to honor who we were so that we can be fully who we are now. I'm always going to honor who I was then, when I thought that I had to work 60-hour weeks while still being a full-time student on top of that. I honor who she was and how she thought those things, while also knowing that those things were wrong and that she didn't need to do those things. And like how in one day from now, one day now, I'm going to look back on who I am now and be like, wow, she really thought that she had to go out and, work another job to feel comfortable and to bring that comfort back into her life. And she didn't need to do that, but I'm going to hold the space for who I am now and thinking that that's right. And, so it's that fine line of knowing, hey, it's okay that you thought those things, because you thought you were making the best decision possible with the information that you had, but it was not the best decision. You know, there was another way to do it, and it's using that line, that, you know, that logic, to then pivot and realize, okay, well then what can I do now? How can I change things? Where do I go from here? You know, it's definitely going to be that. And, you know, figuring out, okay, I see where I was and what I was doing and what I was thinking, and now how do I make it better? And from that, you are going to learn to trust yourself so much more, trust your intuition, your gut. Your body is going to function so much better because it's going to live in a space that knows that it's being respected and listened to and honored. And then thus you're going to go out into the world and you're going to be and feel great. You know, you're not going to worry about like, oh, what if something happens to me? Oh, what if my car breaks down? What if this? What if that? None of these things are going to matter to you anymore, because you're going to be so solidified in who you are and what you believe and why you believe that you're going to be good. And so if you really do have to recognize and honor who you were versus who you are now, and kind of the steps that happened in between there. So that is just my little bit that I had to talk about today, because that was something that, like I said, that greatly came up in me, and that I needed to share with others, to share with all of you guys, because if you're going through that, or if you've gone through that, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't gone through that yet, you now have a tool, and you now know that, hey, Samantha, the Gem Priestess, has gone through it too. And so that, you know, you're not alone in that. And just knowing that someone else has been there and has gone through that changes everything, changes the game. So that is definitely that. Like I said, if you guys have, you know, kind of gone through this or are going through this, comment down below. Let me know. Let me know what you guys are thinking about yourselves. If you guys need any help in figuring out that pivot, like I said, you guys can comment down below. You can message me on, you know, my Instagram or my Twitter if you don't want to put your business out there for everyone to see. I totally get it. I understand. Yeah, like I said, that was just my little bit. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I enjoyed hanging out with you, and I cannot wait until I see you guys next time. Bye-bye.